welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today for the conference United to End Cancer, conference and dialogue. Today we have Professor Dario Crosetto from Dallas that will talk, will introduce us the research about the 3D complete body scanning. But now we are also many people all around the world connected with us. So please let me introduce Alberto Colavita from Trieste. And so please, Alberto, introduce yourself.
Okay. Good evening. Well, I was born in Argentina some 69 years ago. I studied physics, and then I went to the United States where I got a PhD in physics at Washington University in St. Louis. To tell you the truth, in theoretical physics, but what I always liked was experimental physics. So immediately I started working in experimental physics in Argentina until I was called from Trieste. There is a very important institute called the International Center for Theoretical Physics, whose head at the time was Abdus Salam, a Nobel Prize for the theory of particles called, well, the most successful theory of particles. At the time, it was a very small place. There were only 5 fixed scientists, but we received an army of people from third world countries, well, half of them from Europe and half from the third world, where we, and these people were taught different things. Those that went with theoreticians, theory, of course, and I was in charge of a newly created lab that whose only purpose was to do instrumentation. And in this sense, most of the people that worked with me during 30 years worked in different experiments at CERN. We developed many of the instruments being used and that were used before the LHC. So people from Egypt, China, India, etc., contributed also to these experiments by developing different detectors, machines, etc. And of course, much to my dislike, to retire a couple of years ago, and that's it. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Did you hear me?
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, Alberto.
Okay.
So Alberto called from Trieste, from Italy, and now in Trieste is about 9 p.m. Please let me introduce myself. My name is Silvia Tamburiello, and I call from New York, from Meetup TV. Now, let me introduce Diana Damari from Dallas.
Hello, I'm Diana Damari, and I have listened to Dario's presentations, and ever since I've listened to Dario, I'm on a mission to help him implement his device. And I'm looking forward to this exciting paradigm change in cancer.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. And now I can introduce Professor Crosetto from Dallas. So thank you, Professor Crosetto, to be with us today. We are eager to know from you about your research and listening your conference. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Crosetto.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me well? Everything it's okay technically? Thank you for Mauro Torta from Paris, who organized this event, and thank you for Sylvia from New York. And what I would like to talk to you today, it's a conference of about 1 hour, but what is important after this is the dialogue. So it's important your participation with questions, and then we should address a problem that is not my problem, but is our problem, because as the title of the conference says, the future is in our hands, and is how to reduce millions of cancer deaths and trillions of dollars lost every year. So now I invite to show the slides from now on. And I start with a slide that I presented at the World Cancer Congress in Montreal, Canada, last year, August 27. There were several thousand of participants, representatives from 17 Ministers of Health in the world, including 11 Ministers of Health, organized by the UICC, Union for International Cancer Control. So on these slides, I am saying that the target date to reduce cancer death burden continues to be pushed forward every decade. And there is several proof that we are losing the war on cancer, and the reason is because projects do not provide cancer death reduction estimates. And during the last 50 years, the cost of cancer treatment increased 100 times. The global economical cancer cost has now reached 30 trillion, that is $1.4 trillion per year. The premature cancer death toll is over 200 million, that means now 6.5 million per year, and according to the World Health Organization, is going to double by the year 2030. And with all the effort and money that we have put, there has been almost zero result in 50 years, a merely 5% reduction that is mainly due to cessation from of smoking and change in lifestyle. So those are the bad news. The good news is that after 100 years of failure to significantly reduce cancer death and cost, now it's possible with two things. One is an approach, and the other one is an invention. My goal and objective is very clear, and I want to state it at the beginning because somebody at the end, after so many slides, they have difficulty to summarize. So I like to make a statement clear. My goal is to reduce cancer death and cost. I am not here to sell anything, but I am giving the public, means to you, cancer patients, society, 80% of the income from licensing my patent of a life-saving technology. And then the second thing is the approach that I have, that is to identify people competent in reducing cancer death and cost, and also to identify all cancer projects, not just mine, and we will see which mechanism allows to do this, with the highest potential to reduce cancer death and cost. Another thing that I am going to show it to you today is address some very actual issue that we see from a magazine like Consumer Report. It says, save your life, 3 cancer tests you need plus 8 you don't. Shop smart, instead they say 5 that you don't. And Time magazine, March 2013. All these are issue March or April 2013, so very, very current, actual. Time magazine, that is Why Medical Bills and the Bitter Pill. And also on the Time magazine, How to Cure Cancer. So now we go back to the slide, and let's first have some information about what is cancer. I cannot go too much in depth because I have to address too many, several issues. Cancer is a disease characterized by the mutation of normal body cell into cancerous cell, damaged DNA, whose main characteristic is reproducing themselves out of control, increasing in volume to the detriment of neighboring tissue, also invading other distant tissue, transported to the blood vessel that is the metastasis. Because they grow faster, cancer cells need more nutrient, and up to 70 times more nutrient than the normal cell. So cancer is the pathological phenomenon is the carcinogen, is the cancer-causing agent, damages the part of the cell that is responsible for its own reproduction. A second type enhance the growth of tumor. So you see on the left the normal cell, and on the right the cancer cell. The normal cell on the left, you see the shape, the nucleus is big with respect, well, not as big with respect to the surrounding cytoplasm. And whenever a cell is damaged, it goes into apoptosis. So it cannot be repaired. The body is expelling, is getting rid of this cell. Instead, if this does not happen, then the cancer cells are growing much faster, and to grow faster, they need more nutrient. The characteristic of the cancer cell I saw at the microscope is that the ratio between the nucleus and the cytoplasm, the surrounding tissue, is bigger with respect to the normal cell. Is not uniform, and the structure means the distance between one cell and the other is not uniform, but is cluster or sparse. What is causing cancer? We know a lot of things. Cancer is known to strike with no apparent reason. So that is the most unknown and the thing that really doesn't allow us to win the war on cancer. So what is the causing cancer? Well, heritage is one of the main. We have heard lately about Angelina Jolie. For that reason, she had a double mastectomy. And we have a virus and or bacteria, some chemical product. The most common one is a smoke. You know that is a big factor for the cancer death, and also radiation. So the scientists cannot explain all the causes of cancer, and more important, cannot say when it's going to strike. The dimension of the problem. We had very small results, and at this point, a logical question that we may ask ourselves is why are we not asking those who spend your donated or tax money, reduction of cancer death. I'm sorry if I cannot look at the camera because I have to also look at the slide that I am showing to you that are here in the room in the big screen. Okay. So what we need is a change in cancer direction. The first thing that I need to let's say, investigate, not only me, but everybody, we should say, okay, with respect to the other problem, is the cause of death by cancer the second, the third, or the first? So what I did, I looked from for the data from World Health Organization, from 0 to 69, and I found out that cancer is the top, 4.3 million, then there is heart, then there is malnutrition, then there is a car accident, and so on. The last in the line is war and civil conflict and Alzheimer, Parkinson, and multiple sclerosis. So when we have this picture, and I said from 0 to 69, why? Because let's suppose that there are 60% of the people who die of certain disease, let's say liver disease, at 99 years of age. And there are 40% of the people who die of the kidney disease at 35 years of age. This is an hypothesis. Are you going to investigate and cure the one with are you going to cure the one with 40% who die at 35 years of age, or the one who die at 99 years of age, although it's 60%? Obviously, you have to look at the one who are young, means younger than the average lifetime of the man that is 76 and the woman is 80. If you find a solution for those, then the solution will work also for the 80 years of age, 90 years of age. So it's not that we are dismissing those. No, it's just we need a parameter to test, something to measure. So we measure on the young, and then we apply the solution to all of them. Cancer, the big four killer. We have lung, the first one, and these are every 100,000. So you see the bar, the red for the lung is 75 every 100,000. Prostate is 27, and then breast is 26, and the colon rectum is 25. Those are the four big killer always for every 100,000 people. Next is pancreas, but is far much lower than the colon rectum, the 25, so is about 10 every 100,000. So we have seen the cost in, let's say, the death rate. How deadly is this disease? More than any other disease. Let's see the cost. These slides that has been presented, the source is from several government institutions, U.S. Treasury and the statistics and so on. So here we compare three items. One is the gasoline. During the last 50 years, increased 10 times. Then we have the national death in the United States that increased 47 times. Do you remember last year how much discussion we had about the national debt that Obama couldn't, they wouldn't let him increase the city? Well, it was 47 times. It's a lot. But what about cancer? Cancer was 100 times. So that is telling us that we are going to bankruptcy if we don't find a solution also for the cost, that we have to solve this problem not only for the cancer death, the reduction of cancer death, but the reduction of the cost. So how has the cancer calamity been addressed during all this year? Well, we have Clifton Leaf on Fortune magazine. He was the chief editor at that time. Now, this is a slide from Clifton Leaf, the chief editor at Fortune magazine at that time, in 2004, and he presented in 1983 an issue on Fortune magazine, putting a lot of trust and hope on the drug, new drug. As you see from the slide, he put the picture of this new drugs, and however, in 2004, he wrote the article saying miracle cures that weren't, and he refers also to radiotherapy and other things. There is also a very recent news that is the Wall Street Journal of June 2nd, 2013, that is reporting some results of the drug Avastin after more than 10 years that has been available in use. And this drug, what it says, you can see on the slide, what it says, the Wall Street Journal is, in 2012, Avastin racked up global sales for $6.3 billion. It can cost more than $10,000 per month. And then it says that experimental data shows that those treated with Avastin, on average, have an increase in life expectancy of 4 months. So just imagine a person 35 years old that spends hundreds of thousands of dollars and gets 4 months increase of life expectancy, or let's say even 10 months. This is really, and the overall cost is 6.3 billion. We cannot claim that we did great progress on this with drugs. Fortune magazine, the same issue in 2004, shows this graph comparing the decrease in death rate for the heart disease that was 600 every 100,000 in 50 years ago, and now is less than 300. So it's been cut more than half. And in comparison, it shows cancer that the curve is flat, and as we have seen, only 5%. So because during all this year we have the data that did not work, how should cancer calamity be addressed? Well, we have instead data of something that is working, that is early cancer detection, where you can find everyone in agreement with this, that can, when cancer is diagnosed at an early stage, has 90 to 98% probability of resulting in a life save. So at this point, it's necessary to address research toward early cancer detection to achieve the capability of capturing the first signal that shows the start of a mutation from a normal body cell to a cancerous cell. And we will see that the investigation should be which signal are important to be detected that will give us information. So these are more, let's say, data regarding early cancer detection from surveillance epidemiology and end result in the United States that says from prostate is probability to save the life of 100% when it's detected early, breast 98%, colon 89%, and lung close to 50%. However, for lung, when it's detected at later stage, is at only 2.8% the probability to survive. And then for the other is 10, 27, 31. So the problem is that as it is now, we don't have a good test that will allow to detect early at a cancer at an early stage. However, every time you have to solve a problem, when you find a solution, I think that it's logical that we go for that solution. And here we know that early cancer detection is working, but why aren't we following this? Well, perhaps we know just since 1 month, or maybe 1 year, maybe 3 years. We will say, let's give them the time, the decision maker, and they will put a lot of money on this, and we will solve the problem. Well, here I would like to show you a magazine that is National Geographic and is 1946. And internally, you find an entire page dedicated to cancer. And let's see what it says, and I'm going to show you on the slide. So if you look at the slide, it says, for 65 years, we have been targeted with advertisement and false alarm that here it says, the news is good. The death rate is going down. Among women, the rate is being reduced for all forms of cancer. But later on it says it is estimated that 30 to 50% of the death from cancer today means 1946, might have been prevented by early recognition and prompt treatment. So it's 67 years that we hear this story over and over again, but we know that it's possible to reduce with early detection 50%, but we are not really addressing this problem. So let's address this problem, because there are experimental data showing that early detection offers good probability to save lives. However, why research still continues to emphasize almost exclusively drug development and other costly techniques? So if we want to address this, the next question is, how does the cancer manifest itself? It means when does it start the mutation from normal cell to cancerous cell, and which is the best technique to detect this mutation? At this point, we are not going into the detail of the equipment, means the medical equipment, medical imaging equipment. Let's just look at the signal, the behavior of the body cell. We are getting from inside the body the cell that are having a mutation from normal to cancerous cell, a change in odor, a change in temperature, and change in conductivity, and change in tissue density, in fluorescence, metabolism, perfusion. Among all this, which one is the most reliable, the one that gives better information? And I start from the less reliable is odor, temperature, conductivity, and get to the metabolism, that is the one who is giving us the best information. For each one of these, we have device, medical imaging device. We have a device that can map the temperature of the body. We have device that can measure the density of the tissue, and you know many of this, ultrasound, X-ray, CAT scan, MRI. They just show the different density of the body. And then we have the metabolism, that is showing how much nutrient is taking one cell with respect to the neighboring cell. And this is the one that we have a SPECT, a gamma camera, PET, positron emission tomography. The tissue density is not providing us a reliable information, because a cubic centimeter of tissue, it's already 1 billion cell. And sometimes cancer develop without changing density. So even the best machine will not detect it. Okay, so what is the best technique? Let's go back to the slide. To identify cell mutation means early cancer detection. As I said, metabolism. Why? Because cancer cell can take more nutrient, from 5 to 70 times more nutrient than the normal cell. So we have a technique that was invented 50 years ago, but unfortunately, before my invention of the 3D CBS, we don't have a machine now that is called PET, positron emission tomography. We have 5,000 of these machines in the hospital in the world, and this machine do not detect cancer at an early stage because are very inefficient. So let's see how it works. What you see on the slide is the tumor, the neoplasm in the center that shows cancer cells that are irregular, and the size is 10 to the minus 5 meters. And it shows also the nutrient, a molecule. What is the nutrient to the cell of the body? Several: ammonia, rubidium, oxygen for the brain, but the very most common one is sugar, glucose. The food that we are eating is converted into glucose. So if we put a transmitter, a radioisotope, technically speaking, on the top of the molecule that is 10 to the minus 18 meter, and that allows us to track and to see where the nutrient is going. So typically, we inject the patient with this compound that is a nutrient plus radioisotope. This goes through the body, and where there is a concentration of this nutrient is where most likely there is a tumor that is attracting more nutrient because it's consuming more nutrient. So the technique, it should show all these signals, all these molecules of the nutrient, in this case sugar if we use, and what it does, this radioisotope is emitting 2 photons in opposite direction. So my task is to capture as many of these signals coming out from the body that is linked to the nutrient that goes to supply all the cells of the body, including cancer cell, more than other cells. Current PET are detecting 10,000, 1 every 10,000 of this signal. So very, very poor, very inefficient. Mine is detecting 1 every 25. 400 times more. And we will see how we can do this. And so the goal here is to detect more, to increase the efficiency. Means how many of this radioisotope we inject into the patient body, how many the machine is collecting. I was at the hospital to visit a friend of mine who unfortunately now passed away because of cancer. And he was going through one of these exams. And I was seeing him after they injected this radioisotope, and he was on the bed that was going through the ring of this machine. The counter was going to 15,000, 27,000, 30, and the maximum was 33,000. And I know that they injected radioisotope that was emitting 370 million per second. And the machine was collecting 33,000 per second. So it is less than 1 every 10,000, okay? So why here is on the slide the technique. You inject the patient with a radioisotope, goes in circulation, and then you surround the body with this called detector. Okay. However, the current PET is only 16 centimeter in length. My PET is from head to knee, so it can detect many more signal, means 400 times more signal. And in order to do this, I have done some invention. And where do this invention come? The invention should improve the efficiency in measuring the signal that are coming from the patient's body. And it's called 3D CBS, three-dimensional complete body screening. The root of this invention I developed when I was at the superconducting super collider in Texas, a project that was a US government project of $11 billion. The goal was to study the matter, but the problem was the same. So I was dealing with detector that was not 1.5 meters, but it was 43 meters in length and 23 meters in diameter. So with the invention that has been recognized, and you see it on the slide on the left, publicly on a public review from Fermi National Laboratory. This review was requested by the director of the super collider, and is something unique because typically when there is some new things is just published. I did publish in several peer-reviewed scientific journals, but in addition to that, the director gathered the best scientists from the laboratory and industry also in the world to really make an assessment if there was something valuable, and it was, because at the end they gave me $150,000 and recognized officially with a report that is the first page of the report that it was an invention, very valuable invention. So this was in the field of particle physics, that is the basic for this technology, but later, after the year 2000, I made additional inventions that were recognized by the Leonardo da Vinci competition for the most efficient solution in particle detection for early cancer diagnosis from the University of Pavia, where publicly through the web my invention were compared with those other projects from also major laboratory like CERN in Geneva, Fermilab, Brookhaven National Laboratory, and so on. By the way, I committed to donate 80% of the income from licensing the patent of this invention to the cancer patient. Okay, now let's see here in one slide that you can find the animation by clicking down there. I will provide the slides also. The difference between the current PET and the 3D CBS. On the left, you have the current PET. The detector is 16 centimeter in length and is capturing only a few photons, means 60,000 in 90 minutes, while if mine with the technique used in measuring more accurately the signal, I can detect 240 million in 4 minutes. And with a radiation that is 1/30 of the one of the current PET, means 30 times less. So where are the inventions? Well, the inventions are in several areas. In the detector, means this detector that is surrounding the patient, and also in the electronics. That means I can process more data while okay, I can process more data, and this is one of the basic inventions that I would like to explain you because I was able to, I explained it to high school students in San Antonio, Texas, and then it was explained by a colleague because now it's familiar, it's a very common understanding of this invention. So what I did when I was at with the students at San Antonio and in Italy, I explained, I said, we have a common problem in high energy physics as in medical imaging. That means we have radiation that is a natural phenomenon, means signals that are coming out from some nuclear interaction, and the detector needs to be ready to capture this. What is the difference between high energy physics and medical imaging? Well, in medical imaging, no, in high energy physics, if you don't capture all the data, it will take maybe 1 more year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years to discover new particles, because you need to accumulate more data because it's not efficient. Instead, in medical imaging, is much more important, because if you don't capture the data, then you don't find the cancer when it's very small. You need a lot of consumption of nutrient when the tumor is big in order to see your tumor, but it cannot find the small tumor. Not only, but you have to give a lot of radiation to the patient to see the abnormal consumption. With my invention, I get those two advantages. I give 30 times less radiation, and I can find early detection. So how can I do that? Is because when a data comes, I can really investigate and see if that is a, let's say, good event or bad event. It means that if it is an interesting picture or not. And in order to do that, let's suppose that you have a camera. Your camera typically is taking, the one when you go to the movie theater, is making 24 frames per second. Now there are better camera that goes to 60 frames per second, or even more. But imagine that you have a camera that is recording 600 million frames per second. That is what an experiment in CERN is doing. And now I give you a task. Let's say that I want you to find a butterfly or a special pattern, something particular in one frame that is coming at 600 million frames per second. And say, well, it's impossible, because if I spend a lot of time to verify and check the profile that it looks like a butterfly or something, then I am missing the next frame, and butterfly may be in the next frame and I miss it. So I went to the school and I said, look, let's suppose you have envelopes that are coming to you, and they are coming every 6 seconds. You need 30 seconds to solve the problem. I want you to spend 60 seconds on each envelope, and don't miss any envelope, although they come at 6 seconds. They say, it's impossible. Well, no, we will do the exercise, and everybody will understand that it's possible. So what we did, we put a student at the start of the corridor. He gave the envelope, the first envelope, to one student at the door of the first class. I put 5 classes down the corridor. Then the students take the second envelope and passes down to the next class. And then the third envelope passes down. The fourth passes down. The fifth passes down. The sixth gives to his class, because 30 minutes elapsed, takes the result and put it to the right. These results are not going into the class like in a typical pipeline, let's say, mechanism, like you see in the assembly line of the car. But it just moves one cycle at a time, one class down the road, and at the end of the corridor, there is a student open the envelope and say yes, no. So he can save the data, good data, and toss the other one. At some point, the students say, oh, we cannot solve the problem in 30 seconds. We need 60 seconds. No problem. I put 5 classes down the corridor, and they don't miss any class, any envelope, and they can spend 1 minute for each envelope. So this is telling you how one of the key problem were solved in order to make a big change. As you see on the slide, instead of using giving information to the physician, dark and light, we have now a number, just like when you go for a blood exam and you see that one value of your result of the blood test is out of range, and it gives you a star, and you get an alarm there, and it tells you exactly how you are out of the range. So the 3D CBS is made of 2 units. One is a CAT scan and one is a PET scan. The CAT scan gives you the profile of the organ to see where the tumor is, and the PET scan is giving you the activity. It means the consumption. It is, let's say, a certain number of invention that starts from the bottom, that is an invention of electronics that enables an invention in detector assembly. The combination of the two allows to run algorithm 3x3 instead of 2x2. It means to provide all the information on measuring more accurately 5 parameters, that is the characteristic of the particle of the photons. This is the board that I developed with 68 processor in a single board, and is modular. I developed 2 of these, so by testing the 2 boards, I can prove that we can build a system of, let's say, dimension of any dimension to satisfy the requirement of the largest detector in high energy physics of thousands of detector, and the one smaller on medical imaging. So it's solving both. Where are the advantages? Current PET, from 90 minutes the exam to 4 minutes. The cost 10 times less, from 4,000 to 400. Capturing 1 every 25 instead of 1 of 10,000. This allows to reduce the radiation dose to the patient by 30 times to a level less than 1 millisievert or 100 millirem. That is 45 millirem is safe because it's less than 100 millirem. And also is providing information, quantitative information to the physician. So very high sensitivity, low examination cost, low radiation dose, and essential information to the physician. This allows early cancer detection and annual screening, and is better to avoid false positive and false negative. So at this point, one is asking, but why you don't have build this? Is there is no fund? Maybe there are no funds for cancer research. No. Instead, there are a lot of funds for cancer research, and the problem is how these funds should be assigned. And here we will see what I did. I went on official source of NCI and also in Europe, and I gather very detailed information of 124,000 cancer research projects. For each project, there is the abstract, there is the name of the principal investigator, how much he received, the article that he published on the findings, and all this. But the overall result is that we know that from 1986 onward, when I took all this information to now, there has been some success like leukemia, some improvement, but they did not really change the mortality rate because they did not affect very much on the 4 big killer that I said: lung, breast, colon, and prostate. So what should we do to avoid this failure that is obviously demonstrated by the data? Here is my suggestion, is that authors like me should provide estimate of the reduction of cancer death and cost they expect to attain with the funding requested. And then there should be public scientific review, not secret closed door, and then they assign to the person without justifying very much to the public why they assign to that project. This public scientific procedure should be implemented. So at this point, your support is vital. Cancer projects that did not undergo a public scientific review nor estimated cancer death reduction receive funding, while the 3D CBS that passed all this review did not receive the funding. Therefore, the request for funding the 3D CBS technology should be supported by those who really care, who wants to reduce their risk of dying from cancer, who care to save millions of lives, including their dear one, who do not want to waste their money on projects that do not provide the result. At this point, I can tell you what I can bring to the table, but it's something that I cannot do by myself alone. I need also to ask you to bring something to the table. So what I bring to the table is the documentation showing that I have been serving for over 20 years the scientific truth to the benefit of mankind, with all my articles and discussion with the top leader in the world. My commitment to continue to be your advocate and serve you in submitting to decision maker pertinent and legitimate technical questions that are in your interest, and prod them into fulfilling their responsibility of a mandate that they receive from you. The benefit from my invention, 80%. The proof that I put you before my gain for myself, and I have a long list of that, and then 80% of the income from licensing my patent. What am I asking you? What I am asking you to bring to the table, like I say, I was making the example at the city council in DeSoto when I gave the speech. I say, like, here is very common to have a potluck. We get together and everybody bring a dish, and all together at the end we have a nice meal. So here I bring something, and I am asking you your interest and responsibility in reading what may affect your health and your pocket also, with the average cancer burden of $150 per person per year in an industrialized country. I have also the calculation that I can prove that. Your contribution, your sharing this information, your contacts and help in organizing other speaking opportunity. You're asking people that you know in the field if they know any expert who claim a solution with higher impact in reducing cancer death and cost, and who is available for a public debate where we can compare the claim and discuss scientifically. And then your support to the campaign to reduce cancer death and cost. And for this, I invite you to go to the www.u2ec.org. This is the website, and U2EC stands for United to End Cancer.org, and you will see by the way, I thank you for receiving $500 today, and your support or to this crowdfunding project from $5 to $25 it can help. Anything can help to create the infrastructure for this project, to lay down the contracts that will assure that my donation will benefit cancer patients, to start a campaign to raise the $20 million to build 3D CBS prototype, to create awareness that we need to identify all projects with highest potential to reduce cancer death and cost by first asking those who raise and spend money to fight cancer the question, what do you give me in return in percentage of cancer death and cost reduction? Where is your plan showing how you will achieve your expected results? So the cost to build 3 of this machine device, 3D CBS, is, and testing them is 20 million. The time required is 18 months for the first, 9 months deliver the second, 9 additional months for the third, and the human resources are 10 people. The return to the donors and taxpayer in terms of percentage of reduction of cancer death and cost is a plan that is measuring the results and is measuring on 10,000 people, that is a sample population, taken in the age 50 to 75 in a location where the death rate for the past 20 years was 0.5%. Means 50 people were dying for cancer, more or less 49, 50, 51 every year for the past 20 years. So if my device will not be effective, you will see that will continue 50 years. But because it's 400 times more efficient than the current one, then for sure it will give you a benefit. It's just a matter to quantify exactly. After the second year, it may be 45, and then 40. I have used very conservative figures compared to what is estimated by others with less efficient devices. So the expected result, very conservatively, are the first 2.5 years, 2 years and a half after funding, 33% reduction in cancer death after 6 years, and reduction of 1/10 the cost. I made a plan that, in fact, there are 3 different plans depending on how quickly one can build this machine and how much funding is arriving to increase the production. That will not be done by me, but my goal is to find some company that are producing this. We have already the line set up, and just getting the license, and the license 80% will go to the cancer patient. So with this plan that is showing in detail with a very conservative expectation in reduction of cancer death, we could save 30,000 people in 10 years, 3.2 million in 20 years, and 13 million in 30 years. And my suggestion is that everybody who is working in trying to fight cancer should come up with a plan, and then verifying year after year how, if they receive funding, how far and how they meet the expectation. So in order to solve the cancer problem, we need to identify leaders competent in cancer death and cost, identify the project with highest potential to reduce cancer death and cost, and fund only the project of item B, means the one that are demonstrated to have highest potential to reduce cancer death and cost, that provide a transparent plan on how the author expects to reduce cancer death and cost, just as I did, and then verifying that year after year. So on the first one, it seems an obvious question or obvious answer to the question, identify leaders competent in reducing cancer, but it is not, because when it matters to assign the money of the taxpayer, then everybody is competent. But when you ask a person, okay, if you are competent, then would you tell me which is the project that has a higher potential to reduce cancer death and cost? No, no one is competent. So this is what happened at one of the top conferences in Geneva in 2012, where the chairman of the conference asked the question to the keynote speaker, Benson, from Wisconsin, and she asked if there would be one thing that could move this field forward, means reducing cancer death and cost, what do you think it would be? And the question was legitimate because he gave a lecture of more than an hour explaining all weapons that we have against cancer, from imaging, drugs, everything, that after that hour I say, okay, now nobody should worry about cancer because it looks like it's solved. He presented just everything. So this is why the chairman said, oh, we have so many things, now just tell us the one that is the best. He said, I don't know. Then he made also a joke and said, oh, the one that to do it just increase my salary. That was his. But besides that, even later, we'll try to make some discussion on this, and you can find it on the web. And it's the answer to a question that seems obvious is not. And you see that instead, this it's hard to find someone who say I am competent and I can tell you that this is better than the other and will give you an advantage and so on. I asked the same question to the keynote speaker of the Journal of American Medical Association media briefing on April 17, Deborah Scragg, and she also did not answer. Okay, to the next slide. Identifying project with highest potential to reduce cancer death. How can you do this in a fair way that just the best project comes to the surface? Well, it seems to me the legitimate and question, the best way to do is to ask the researcher, the applicants, the inventor, the author of that project, saying, or the one who are raising money to solve this problem or spending money, doesn't matter if it is a vaccine, a drug, a screening device, or a program to educate people, high-risk individuals, to change their lifestyle. To all these people, just because I don't want to promote mine, but I would be glad to see the solution by any of these this project, is everybody should estimate and then provide a plan to measure the result on a sample population. The estimate obviously should be based on scientific argument, and he should be able to defend and sustain his claim before other scientists. However, the judge at the end will be nature, with the law of nature, means experiment, means that he will take 10,000 people in one location and 10,000 people in another location. Both of this group, during the past 20 years, the mortality was 50 every year. Okay, we assign 10,000 people to this project, and the author should show that next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever he declares, is going down to 45, 40, and so on, in the range of 45, 60, 74 years of age, 55 to 74 years of age. So this is the real proof that everybody should accept, because it's fair, is not the one who's making more publicity, but the one who has something real. A difference or no difference in the mortality rate will quantify the success or the failure of the proposed solution. And then fund only projects that provide a transparent plan how to expect to reduce cancer death. Now, let's take a few examples here. Johns Hopkins University Medical Center, JSC, endorsed Jack and Draka pancreatic test costing 3 cents, being 400 times more sensitive. It's just 15 years old students who got the prize last year, the 25th of May. And his mentor says that he will be the Thomas Edison of the 21st century. However, the director of the Johns Hopkins Cancer Center states on this Time magazine of April 2013, on an interview, we still need people looking under the rock. And he does not mention that in their hospital, the students 15 years old who found this 3 cents test that is 400 times more sensitive in detecting pancreatic cancer. So why is there a pancreatic cancer dream team receiving $2 million grants and 2 years of work from the Stand Up to Cancer? The Stand Up to Cancer is the organization that is collecting a lot of money in the fall, in September, October, and the vice president is the same person, that is Dr. William Nelson. So another example is Panacea Pharmaceutical. They were at the World Cancer Congress, and they provided some information that they have a blood test for the 4 big killer: lung, colon, prostate, and breast, since 2007, that are 91%, more than 91% in sensitivity and in specificity. So I asked them to go through this test and to demonstrate that they really affect the reduction of cancer death on a sample population of $10,000, but I did not receive the response. What we need to do, we need to bend the curve of the cost that is going to the roof and is much more worse and dangerous and than the one of the national debt that increased 47 times, because it increased 100 times and is really driving us to the bankruptcy, and also decrease the mortality rate. Why would we continue doing the same things but expect a different result? This is the definition of insanity by Einstein, and we see that all these failures are accumulating. Another proof that we are not winning the war on cancer is a list of famous people who suffered or died from cancer. And if the advertisement that we have the cure for cancer will be true, these people, famous and powerful, like Ted Kennedy, he had both, he could have purchased a few months of life. Instead, he was diagnosed for 15 months, and at the 15 months, even if he spent a lot of money, he went to many Yale and to many university hospital, he did not change his thing. So this slide is who will be the next? A premature cancer death every 5 seconds, more than 6 million per year. What we should do, we should all be the change you want to see in the world, famous sentences by Gandhi, and sign the petition that now there are more than 8,000 who signed already this petition, that we want public scientific review and the estimate by the researcher. Ask everyone working in the field for a plan on how they will achieve a reduction in cancer death and cost on a sample population, not just advertise their project. Okay, so then I remind you to support the United to End Cancer. Now we have the part 7, that is what the $1 trillion market, cancer market, is offering and what it should offer if scientific information would prevail over unsupported advertisement. And for that, I have here a few magazine, and let me show you this one, for instance, is Time Magazine, March 2013, and it says Sean Recchi, diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at age 42, total cost in advance for Sean's treatment plan and initial dose of chemotherapy, $83,900. Charges for blood and other tests, $15,000, and so on. His wife, who was there, says he was sweating and shaking with chill and pains. He had a large mass in his chest that was growing. He panicked. Nonetheless, Seans was held for about 90 minutes in the reception area, this of the MD Anderson in Houston. She said, because the hospital could not confirm his check had cleared. And then Seans gave his credit card. They charged something on the credit card, and at that point he was allowed to speak to the doctor, to the physician. So the cover page of Time Magazine, it says that how to cure cancer, and talks about a dream team of specialists. Is cancer resolved by a dream team, or is it resolved by an idea, by a project, by something that is demonstrated scientifically that is better than another? Because you can put 100 of dream team, if they don't have a solution, it may go on forever, just costing a lot of money and not getting to any results. Another thing that should make us reflect that really we should look for the solution and not for the money. Here is a demonstration, always in the same article of Time Magazine. The cost of healthcare in United States is $8,500 per year. The life expectancy average is 79 years of age. In Spain, the cost is $2,500. Life expectancy is 82 years. So, and many others, for instance, 69% of those who experienced medical-related bankruptcy were insured at the time of their filing, and 62% of bankruptcy are related to illness or medical bills. So really, we have to try to focus more on results and not, and this can be a subject of the discussion, because one consumer report, it says, save your lives, 3 cancer tests you need plus 8 you don't. And on another magazine, the same, let's say this one is March 2013 and this is April 2013, and it says 5 that you don't. Hopefully everyone agrees that colonoscopy is the one that you need, but why one is saying, giving you one advice and one another, and it will be important to have a longer discussion on this to see how we should believe and what should we take from this advice and who we should believe. Okay, another very astonishing, shocking information number is that when you type cancer breakthrough on Google, you get, here you see 60 million results. However, surprisingly, as you see, I took a shot of this web page and it was showing 60 million. This was a few months ago, and I have tried yesterday and it's down to 5 million. So that and many other information are surprising. So it's not that in the matter of 1 month we got from 60 million cancer breakthrough, or somebody detected my my investigation and now is only to 5 million. Anyway, we don't need 60 million. We don't need 5 million, even if some citations are mentioned more than one time. We need 1 or 2 real breakthrough, like the one that I am telling you. How do you explain this discrepancy? 30, 60 million number of cancer breakthrough or citation of it. $1.4 trillion per year is the global economic cost of cancer. 100 times is the increase of the cost of cancer treatment during the past 50 years. Only 5% reduction of premature cancer death during the past 50 years, mainly due to cessation from smoking and changing lifestyles, and not merit of research. So we go on for a 60 years from sensation news to another sensation news. And I don't know when we will understand that there should be a different parameter to announce this sensational news. Like Androca screening test for pancreatic cancer costing 3 cents, that is 400 times more sensitive than ELISA, 25%, 50% more accurate. This was last year, May. Where is the plan if it cost only 3 cents? I would say that it's so easy to implement it. You go to Quest, LabCorp, and it's not 3 cents. You pay $3, okay? And you implement a plan showing, demonstrating that this test applied on 10,000, 100,000, 1 million people is going to make a difference. And although this is only for pancreatic, so first you look at how many people die of pancreatic cancer in the world per year, is less than 300,000. How many dies in general of total of the others is 6.5 million. So mine is beneficial, affecting, useful for the 6.5 million. Let's suppose that both can get to 50% 50% reduction of cancer death. So that has the potential to save 100,000, 150,000 lives. Mine is 3.5 million of life. So the other thing that puzzles is why the director of Johns Hopkins University, that is the institution that discovered this kids 15 years old who invented this, who discovered this test, they published on the Time magazine of April that they are looking for someone who looks under the rock to find a solution for the pancreatic cancer, and they are assigning 2 grants of $2 million each plus 2 years of work to a dream team on pancreatic cancer at Johns Hopkins University using the money of Stand Up to Cancer. So these are contradictions that in my previous seminars and already people asked me to inquire. At the World Cancer Congress, then there was this company Panacea that I mentioned before, and they also claim a breakthrough of detecting early the 4 type of cancer with a blood test. So the part 8 is how the target date to reduce cancer death and cost continue to be postponed, and how advertisement is conditioning all of us. In 19 1937, leader in the field claimed that if enough money could be provided, cancer would be eradicated. But every time decision maker postponed the target date, implicitly they admit failure. It means that they are getting the money that they requested, because all the money has been, so if they will not get the money, so for me, until when I don't get the money, I cannot be blamed of anything. But they got the money, and they are postponing the date. So that's like saying, okay, I was wrong. That's an implicit admission that they did not make it. This is the act to start the National Cancer Institute, act in 1937, and was stating the same thing. And the President Nixon essentially made the same statement, same claim, when he signed the Healthcare Act in 1971. And right after the signature, the director of NCI, National Cancer Institute, promised a victory by the year 76. However, no results were available by the year 76. So this has been moved, the date has been moved to later, from 71 to 80, 90, 2000, 2010. I don't want to take your time to list all these declarations that were a failure, and I just list the three last ones. The one in 2003 by the director of NCI, Dr. Eisenbeck, that issue a challenge, his word says, to eliminate the suffering and death from cancer, and do so by the year 2015. 2015 is there, around the corner. So where are the results? The Union for International Cancer Control in 2008 made a declaration that they will significantly reduce the cancer burden by the year 2020. But the last one is the World Health Organization, that in 2011 said that they will reduce by 25% by the year 2025. So here they are more precise. But for all this declaration, like the one in the past, where is a concrete plan with all this declaration on how they can achieve the target? Like I said, the plan and so on. So why these things keep going on, the target keep moving, people keep continue to give money, is because advertisement is conditioning all of us. And here I'm showing how Bloomberg investigation about the telemarketing by Infocision that is raising funds for American Cancer Society and for many other foundations and nonprofit. On September 12, 2012, last year, I heard at the National Public Radio that about this investigation by Bloomberg Market. Fact and data demonstrate that the telemarketing company Infocision collected $425 million from donation by making phone calls, and less than 50% was given to the nonprofit. In some cases, Infocision kept all the money. In a specific case, 2010, American Cancer Society received zero of the 5.4 million collected and had to pay $113,000 for expenses they incur. American Cancer Society stated that to the journalists that they had to accept this treatment because if they will tell the truth, the donors will not give money anymore. I provide a link there to the transcript of this that is being provided by the PBS and also the audio interview. Surprisingly, just to memorize the date on the first one, September 12. Now, September 13, 2012, the day after, In just one day, North Texas received $14 million for nonprofit organization, an increase of $4 million compared to the $10 million received in 2011. So more information about how advertisement is conditioning all of us. This is Jimmy Kimmel, who made an interview on September 19, 2012, about the iPhone 5. He went on the street, and the iPhone 5 was not available. It became available the 21st of September. And he showed to the people on the street two identical iPhone S4. And one of those two, he said, this is i5, this is S4, but they were the same. And he asked to compare and tell him the difference. The people were repeating, all of them, all what they heard on the advertisement, that the one that was called iPhone 5, although it was not, it was thinner, it was faster, it was lighter, and all the characteristics that they heard before. So this is really what we all need to pay attention and do. We should say that there are thousands of physicians, healthcare providers, volunteers, donors, and taxpayers with a good heart who dedicate their life, and they really and sincerely care to solve the cancer problem, to whom everyone is grateful. So all people are doing the march for cancer and so on. Unfortunately, the results are saying that they are deceived. Some are not aware that are deceiving them, are doing in good faith, but some do know, because those who raise and spend money to fight cancer, not all of them, but as the data is telling us the truth, to fight, do not follow an open public scientific procedure in assigning a research fund, and do not provide a concrete plan about how they intend to achieve the reduction of cancer death and cost for a specific target date. So the advocacy is identifying the technical, this is the part 9, discrepancy that can stop this trend damaging all of us. And we must really support this because a typical question that or reaction that I get from the public says, how can we help to stop this failure if we do not understand if one technology is better than the other? Well, you can ask the question, specific, pertinent question to this, and I can do that because I am in the field, and I can ask this question as I went to the conference, and I did, and to request decision maker to commit to provide result in cancer death and cost reduction. That is something that everybody can see. You can see that your friend, your neighbor, your family members are not dying with the rate that they are dying in the past 50 years. For example, if you click on the statement, because the time has come and the solution is finally within our reach of the Stand Up to Cancer. It's a website collecting money for cancer. Well, when I saw that, I was convinced that I clicked there, I said, I find the solution. No. What I find is the request for my credit card, the detail of my credit card. So during this year, I've been your advocate and the advocate of 8,000 people who signed the petition in defending your interest before the decision maker who handle your tax and donation money. I am your advocate meeting with UN congressmen, congresswomen, and meeting scientists at a cancer conference in Geneva, meeting and corresponding with CERN Director General and Scientific Director, meeting and corresponding with leaders in the field, including the Nobel laureates, participating to the World Cancer Congress, and submitting the procedure that would identify not only my breakthrough, but all breakthrough with the highest potential to reduce cancer death and cost. So the solution are achievable through the dialogue. So this is the last slide that I presented at the World Cancer Congress. It says, to solve the problem, we have to empower the citizen and philanthropists, because those are the ones who fund the fight against cancer, and in order to get a return for their money by significantly reducing cancer death. So I invite to sign the petition, to create law and regulation that provide greater accountability in relation to funding with the result obtained, and using public, transparent, scientific procedure that provide an estimated and percentage of reduction of cancer death and cost, the project cost, the estimated of the time required to expect the result, a plan to measure result on a sample population, and a comparison between different projects. I will never stop to stress enough, to underline enough that everyone should provide a plan and measure results. This is what is going to make the change, not the dream team, is experimental results. So again, memorize this slide 76. I'm just announcing it. Don't want to repeat all, but everyone raising or spending money to fight cancer, whether it is for a vaccine, drug, should provide estimate of the result that they want to, they intend to achieve, they expect to achieve. And a difference or no difference in the mortality rate will quantify the success or failure of the proposed solution. So summarizing, we got a problem. There is a high cancer cost. Date for result is postponed for more than 50 years. This problem is solved. The value of my invention has been recognized publicly by top world experts. The future is in our hand. I bring to the table my invention and advocacy for your interest. Anything you can bring to the table can help to achieve the goal. Your donation, your interest, your support, working together in a dialogue will make the difference and will save many lives. Stand Up Cancer. I invite you to go to this website, www.u2ec.org. And now we open for the question. Thank you for your attention. Mauro?
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Crosetto, for your wonderful presentation, for your interesting presentation. And actually, there are many questions rising from people who saw your presentation, your conference. So please, I will start with the first, coming from Dominique from Oklahoma, who is asking. Actually, from the media, we had different information about the development and results of cancer detection research so far. So, I mean, what media has been going on saying us during the last decades is different from what you have explained today as. Please, can you give us more precise data about what media says?
Okay, thank you for this question, and it's not new to me because, in fact, I receive this question, but I am glad to answer. Is a recurrent question and is important, very, very important, because otherwise people are really confused. And there is one thing that will clarify and will answer very clearly this question. And on this, everybody agree. And you can find university, if you Google and you find articles, scientific articles, that the way to determine the success or the failure is to count the dead body. So if we count how many people are dying 50 years ago, 40, 30, 10, not in total, because the population of the world is increasing. Now we are 7 billion. No, let's take a specific group age, because also that, depending on the boom of the birth and so on. Now let's take a specific age, and the best one is high risk, is 55, 74. And let's see how many people die every 100,000. So it doesn't matter if it is, let's say, 30 years ago when the population was, I would say, 4 billion, or I don't know exactly, but no, let's say every 100,000. And on that, everybody agree. And because it is a recurrent question, that I have shown several slides, and here is Diana can witness that, and it's available also on the web. My presentation at the City Hall in DeSoto, there was a public presentation. I presented several slides that I took off from this presentation, but I moved them on the back of the presentation, so in the event somebody would like to know more, in fact, you can look what I call facts and figures, that are some of the slides that I had on the previous presentation. I move it here as a backup, and here I took a snapshot of a website from the World Health Organization of June 2010, where they predict that there will be 25 million annual cancer cases by 2030, and the death rate will double. So in 20 years, they say it will double. This is the map of the most common cancer site worldwide by sex in 2008, and shows male on the top, a female with the legenda. You can look at this on your own, and this is a publication that I have here from World Health Organization, and I just take one of the, well, it's 2 pages, these 2 pages that I have used in other presentation, and are showing that for the different mortality, cause of mortality, cancer is the top one, this one, that in 30 years is going to double, and is also showing for the different income, high income, middle income, and low income, all will suffer from cancer. So those are data from the from the World Health Organization. And here I have an interesting document that I show is from American Cancer Society, and is a fact and figure, global fact and figure, what is second edition, 2009. And here, let me see. Oh no, I was looking at the wrong one. Is Cancer Fact and Figures 2012. And this one is reporting, you cannot read that, but is reporting the mortality rate in United States for different states, Alabama, Alaska, and so on. And I just noticed that the Utah is much lower, let's say, some lower than with respect to the other states. This is just an example that we should learn from the data and mortality data, not from the advertisement that there is the cure for cancer. So why in Utah the mortality rate is lower? 158 every 100,000 instead of 200, 260 in Alabama, and so on. Well, the explanation, we need to give a reason that is a scientific reason, is because there are many of the Mormon religion who have a better health style. The lifestyle is more healthy. They do not drink coffee, wine, and also the population is younger. Okay, so the two factors, that the population is younger and the fact that they have a better, healthier lifestyle, it gives explain this rate that is lower. However, there is, if we look at for the breast is almost the same, is the same as the other state. So the explanation for this is because it's developing a gene that is common when there are marriage among people with not too distance in relation and on a family relation. So because of this, there is more development of breast cancer. Anyway, let me move on. This is another publication of the American Cancer Society and Lance Armstrong, showing that cancer has the highest cost of $895 billion per year, more than any other disease. This graph is reporting the economic loss from the top 15 global cause of death. And this is another of this publication from American Cancer Society, showing that by the year 2010, the cost of cancer was 263.8, and it's easy to divide this number to 63.8 billion, divided the population 308 million is $856. That is the average cost for any citizen in the United States. And this is, well, another comparison. This is Gina Colata from the New York Times 2009, saying that for heart disease, the death rate declined 64%, stroke 74%, flu pneumonia 58%, cancer 5%. She is taking 1950 and 2005, 50 years there. And this is the most important one, is really the proof that we are throwing money out of the window, that we do not have results, because this is the signature of the World Health Organization, American Cancer Society, National Cancer Institute, so the three most important organizations in the world that present the data for the male and for the female of 50 different countries here. And you see that the male 280 death in Hungary, in Czechoslovakia, and so on, every 100,000. This is the male and female. And for Mexico, where is the Mexico? Mexico is 72, I think, 72. So if the one who are paying the $850 would receive back some benefit from their money, they should be here at the bottom of this graph. Means dying, the rate should be lower, dying not less, fewer people are dying from cancer. No, they are just in the middle, and you will see Poland that doesn't have an expenditure of $850 per person, that has the same death rate as another who does, and as a location geographically, they are in the middle between Netherlands, England, and France, and so on. So really, this is the proof that the money that we put does not give an advantage to the one who puts the money, because I compare the industrialized with the non-industrialized country, and there is no other ratio. Instead, there is also that early cancer detection saves lives compared to the this is to the late detection. This is a graph from Fortune magazine. Okay, so we got a problem. Cancer cost is too high, and the target date to significantly reduce cancer death continue to be postponed for 50 years. So ask people who enter cancer research money, why did you find project that did not provide a significant reduction in cancer death and cost, and you did not find a 3D CBS project without being able to provide a reference to another project superior in efficiency that could be compared publicly? The final recommendation is support directly then the 3D CBS that is superior to all other projects, or provide a reference to other projects with higher potential to reduce cancer death, because the goal is to solve the problem, is not to favor, and we should not be in competition. I will be glad to collaborate with people who can show that they have something better. So this is really the fight against cancer is us. We need to collaborate to defeat cancer, not defeating among us. Thank you. I hope that it's been a little longer, but all this data should be convincing, not because it's said by Crosetto, but because of the source of the data that I can provide a reference and should convince everybody.
Thank you, Professor Crosetto. We have more and more questions from the many people who seen the TV. And so, for example, another question from Paul from Boston, who is asking just, do you know, Professor Crosetto, how many people die of cancer every year, in average, every year in the US?
In the US is 500,000.
Oh, it's a lot of people.
Yes, 500,000, and in the world is over now is more than 7 million. Premature is 6.5 million. So if you add up a few years, you will see that the figure that I said, it goes to 200 million. Premature means younger than the average lifetime of the man that is 76 and woman is 80. Okay, those are the figures, unfortunately.
Another question from Italy, from Valeriano, is asking if you know which kind of a cancer is more dangerous, I mean more deadly among the other.
The most deadly is lung cancer, as I said. That is taking, let me go back to the slides, but I think it's taking up to, we have a precise information. Every, okay, here is. Lung cancer that is taking 75 victims every 100,000. So the incident means the one diagnosed are not much more. It's only 78. And the survivor is 2.8, 3, something like that. So that is the most deadly. And right after that is a 28, 27, 28, the prostate cancer. I think that we have some question also here from Damari, that she was at the other conference already in the city of DeSoto, the one that I gave. But that one, it was broadcasted through the channel TV to all the citizens here and was introduced by the mayor of DeSoto. Yes, please. Is that okay if Damari asks the question now, or do you want some other people? Sylvia.
Can't hear
Sylvia.
the microphone problem.
Thank you, Professor Crosetto. Let's go to your to the guest from DeSoto, and then we're going to go back to the other question that are coming from the chat, from the TV.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Dario, I see that the 3D CBS device can greatly reduce cancer deaths because it addresses what everyone agreed during the past 100 years, that early detection on asymptomatic people saves lives. And your device, by being so much more efficient in early detection, can make a difference. So my question is, can you be more specific about how it can benefit cancer survivors?
Okay. It's something that I always forget to stress the importance of the benefit of this invention, this device for cancer survival, and thank you for bringing up this issue. In fact, when people hear the word screening, they think that is only for the asymptomatic, for the one who don't have any symptom, and to try to catch it early. But it's even more important for the one who had already cancer, because these people are really living with more uncertainty than all of us. We are living with uncertainty that we could be affected by cancer anytime. But because they had it already one time, they have more uncertainty. So it's much more important for them to have a device that delivers very low radiation and that is finding cancer early, means the restart of activity of the mutation from normal cell to cancer cell. So if another person needs an exam every year, they may need, according to what the doctor, the oncologist suggests them to do, may need every 9 months, 6 months, or 3 months. And by having a low radiation and the possibility to see that they are cancer-free is more reassuring than going with another exam and say you're cancer-free, instead it's not, and the cancer is there. It's just the machine that doesn't see it. Also, when I give some presentation at some hospital, there were some radiotherapists who would like to have a device like this, because they said when we make a treatment with radiotherapy or a surgery, we always have a doubt if did we remove all the cancer cell or there are still some left over there. And say with a machine like yours, that will reassure us, because we'll see the tiny activity, small activity of cancer activity, that we can go back either to burn it with radiation or to remove it. So sorry, I didn't underline, stress enough the importance of this machine and benefit that the cancer patient, cancer survivor can have, also for planning a treatment. Thank you for your question. You have more?
I do.
Okay.
I have a few questions, Dario. Why, with all these recognitions, didn't the project get funded? And what is the mechanism to fund the cancer project? And another question, why didn't you sell your patent?
Okay. Well, the key factor of why, with all this recognition, I did not get the funding is because the one who are assigning the funding, means the agency that are assigning the funding, do not allow the dialogue between the scientists, the applicants, the researcher like me, and the reviewer. They think, and this is, it seems like it's hard to believe, but I am not going there to ask for a gift or for something. I'm doing my job and trying to serve the public and providing some useful information. So it is a responsibility of both them to look for me, and not only for me, for all the projects who have a better potential, highest potential to reduce cancer death. And so they should be thrilled and be glad to talk to me and to ask all the detail and to see if I can prove that my claims are sustained, supported by scientific argument. Not putting a barrier, cutting, saying the reviewer cannot talk to the applicants. And so the point is really the dialogue. We need more dialogue, and after having assessed and not being able to turn me down because I provided a scientific argument to support my claim, then another technique is to take the top best 2, 3. So it doesn't take a long time. You made the competition for American Idol, and where you take thousands of let's say, competitors, and you get to one. Here I'm just asking to take 2 or 3, the one who claim more results in reducing cancer death and cost, and bringing them to the table in the public, and let them talk, and let them one reviewing the project of the other and asking pertinent questions that will put in difficulty the other. And this is the way a competition that should promote the best and fund the best project. Not like now, that the assignment of the funding is a closed door. It's a committee that does not provide clear justification why they assign the funding one and to the other, and they just assign. Many times you don't know why, and if they compare with another project, but it's closed door. No, it should be public. We are in an era, as you see, with the Google Hangout, we can put together people from anywhere in the world. So it's so easy, the communication, that there is no more the barrier and the cost of putting hundreds of people to talk about. So really, we need a big reform on the way the funds are assigned, and more important, the one who are assigning the fund, if later on there are no results, they are responsible also, because they should have envisioned that that project will not give result, and will not have to spend that money on that project that should not give result, because that is a wasted money. The second question was why I didn't sell my project, my patents to, I had several requests. Well, because I spent so many years to try to make a change in reducing cancer death and cost. And I see that still now my invention is superior to the other in lowering, in efficiency, that will lower the radiation dose and find the cancer at an early stage. And so I am aware of other cases where technology, very good, innovative technology, were purchased by big company and were put on the shelf just to eliminate the competition. Practical example, EBT, electron beam CAT scan. It's a CAT scan that instead of having the gantry, mechanical gantry that goes around the patient's body, has a beam like an oscilloscope, like the cathode ray tube of the old television, for the one who are my generation who still experience the first television with the cathode ray tube. So this means that this technique was able to go around the body of the patient with 100,000 revolutions per second. They were not limited by the mechanics. The radiation was much lower, more efficient. However, it was needed more tuning, more, but it was working. They built more than 100 of these devices. It was the company Imatron. And then I know still the company here, we're clinic here in Dallas, who has this ET electron beam CAT scan. And they have difficulty to find the maintenance because General Electric purchased the patents, and instead of continuing the line, they just closed the line. And so it's something that the citizen, the patient, could have get a benefit, and they did not. So this is the reason why I don't sell it, because it may be closed, or another reason is that it may be for making a very big profit, and for a few people. Instead, I would like to assign the license to company who will build many of these devices to bring it to a lot of people, and at that point the competition will lower the price. What was the other? Oh, okay. Is there any other question, Silvia?
Yes, there are some other questions from many people who is very interested in your speech. So, for example, there is Mary Ann from Florida who is asking again, what do you suggest to new researchers with good ideas, good research, and good results and good plans to make his or her work more visible?
Well, altogether, this researcher, we should get together. They could contact me or you or the group, and so if we really have an intention, a goal, and a honest goal that is reducing cancer death and cost, and not just the profit or making a new market or anything like that, then we can create this debate where honestly I present my claim, how efficient, superior is mine. This person will present her or his claim, and we will see together sometimes are complementary. Sometimes one is providing benefit in one field, another one on another field, but together we are even complementary and increasing the result that each one could do by itself, because my device, it could be combined to radiotherapy, it could be combined to the use of drugs, the use of other surgery, and as I said before, other technique. Will love to have my invention because it will help them to be more successful. Even the surgeon, because I say, okay, I removed the cancer, but I never know for sure if I left some pieces inside, okay? So my suggestion is, let's exchange the contact, and let's try to together to go to the funding agency. I already have several contacts, and the first thing that really is very important, it seems silly, it seems obvious, it is not. I have asked to agency in United States, American Cancer Society, National Cancer Institute, and in Italy, said, show me in your rule for assigning grants, where is the statement that says to the applicants, what do you give us in return? What do you give to the government in return, to the citizen in return, in terms of the reduction of cancer death? They don't ask the question. If they don't ask the questions, then why an applicant should receive the money? For what? If he doesn't commit, if his goal is not to reduce cancer death and cost, and if he doesn't have to prove with an experiment on a sample population, we should ask the question first. Should be in the rule to, whenever there is an agency that is assigning grant money for research, that is the first rule. Asking the applicants, demonstrate, tell me how you think that your project, your approach will reduce cancer death. How much will it cost? How many years? If you are just doing a little part of a bigger project, of a bigger puzzle that altogether will reduce cancer death, did you contact the other party? Did you get together with them? Or if it is something available, you should say, this is available there, it's just missing my part, I give this part. With all together, all the part put together, we will reduce cancer death with so much. So that is essential question. So in summary, contacting each other. Second, together we will go to the funding agency and ask to change the rule. The rule should ask that question first. What are you giving us in return? And when? Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Crosetto. We have some more questions about many people want to know more about cancer itself. For example, there is Colette from France who is asking if you, in a few words, how many different kinds of cancer has been found so far? In the main kind, the main type.
You mean the literature? It shows that there are 1,000 different types of cancer, and that is the reason why it's very unlikely. I've talked to researchers at Southwest Medical Center to find a drug that is covering not all of them, but most of them, or the main one, because as we see, the Avastin, the drug that has been around for more than 10 years, so far has demonstrated to extend the life span by 4 to maximum 10 months, okay? So really, the one that I listed on the slides before are the main type of cancer. As I said, lung is the first, prostate, breast, colon rectal, then pancreas and the ovary and so on. But there are 1,000 different types of cancer, and because we do not have a weapon, a drug that can cure all of them, the best is early detection when the cancer is confined and it didn't go to the bloodstream. When it goes to the bloodstream and metastasizes, then it's difficult to stop the spreading. It's difficult to go to cure all the different organs. So once instead you detect it early, that is confined, you have typically three procedures. The first is surgery. The second is radiation. The third is chemotherapy. Sometimes are the two combined, sometimes are the three combined. And obviously, if it is the three combined, it's because cancer was already a little advanced, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. For example, just in a few words, for one of the biggest cause of cancer, lung cancer, there is Mark from Germany who is asking how many different kind of lung cancer has been founded so far.
I cannot provide you the information. I could document myself and ask some oncologists. My field is trying to provide a technique for early cancer detection. And the technique is linked to the biological process that has been proven and accepted by many scientific articles that are confirming that cancer cells are taking from 5 to 70 times more nutrient than normal cell. So my technique can provide benefit for all type of cancer that shows, and those are the most, an anomaly in consumption of nutrient. And then the field, the discipline of all the specific difference of lung cancer, I cannot say that because it is not my field, but because the type of cancer, lung cancer, are consuming more nutrient than a normal cell, my technique that provide an efficiency and improvement in this will benefit all this type of cancer.
Thank you. There is also a question from Oregon, from Patrick, who is asking, what is PAT? Sorry, PIT.
Okay, PAT is a positron emission tomography. And on that, unfortunately, there is sometimes the mistake are carried on during the years, decades, because of a little mistake made at the beginning. And positron is the antimatter of the electron. So it's a tiny particle, 10 to the minus 18 meters, that is the antimatter of the electron. When the positron encounters the electron, is emitting two photons, and that is the second word, emission, positron emission, okay? Is emitting two photons in opposite direction. And the third word, tomography. Tomo from the Greek is cut, and this is wrong. Is not the correct word to define this equipment. And I have discussed this with several people, And finally, I find out that the reason why it was called tomography, that is a wrong name, because it's not a CAT. CAT is good for CAT scan. That is the machine that is very common at the hospital, the CAT scan, because we have a beam from one side and the detector on the other side is rotate around the body, and it's like making a cut, means slices of the body. Imaginary, okay? It's not really cutting the body. It's giving you a picture that is a slice of the body. So that is appropriate, is tomography, tomo, cut from Greece. This instead, you have the radiation from inside the body that goes in all directions. So is emission, is better to call technology, positron emission technology. I have tried to discuss this with the director of National Institute of Health, Zerhouni, in a press release in Washington. I have discussed with this with the inventor of the original PET, that is not mine because it's the one that doesn't provide benefit in early cancer detection, is inefficient, and his name is Gordon Brunel. I talked to him in 2002 over the phone, and he passed away in 2008. And we had a nice conversation, and I asked him, why did you call it tomography? It doesn't, he agreed with me. He said, you know what? Because in our group, we had a software engineer who developed the back projection software that allows you from a slice to get those pictures of gray, black, and white, typical of the CAT scan. And because we didn't have any other tools, software that would allow us to display, to visualize the data from a PET scan, we call it tomography, okay? But it was the wrong baptized, let's say, was the given name at the beginning wrong, and then it has been carried on for all this half a century, and still is there. In my document, I try to put positron emission technology or 3D CBS when I talk about my device. So I hope that I didn't go too much in detail, technical, but it's a nice story behind it.
Thank you so much for this detailed answer. There is a question from Sweden, from Maxine, who is asking if have you has been ever found any relation between I mean, if cancer can be also psychosomatic, if there is any relation about psychosomatics.
Whatever is, cancer can be caused by different things. I cannot say that is not caused by psychosomatic, let's say, sensation and so on, attitude of the patient. Whatever is the cause of cancer, I listed the main one: heritage, bacteria, virus, chemical, and radiation, and you can add those. For sure is the environment, is the lifestyle, and we have seen a demonstration from the data in Utah that the one with the Mormon religion who have a healthier lifestyle, it makes a difference, okay? So I am not denying or saying that it is not possible. It could be possible. The bottom line is that we do not have a control on all the causes of cancer, and more important, we do not know when it's going to strike. So because we do not know these two things, the best thing to do is to try to get a signal from inside the body when the cell starts mutation from normal to cancer cell. The earlier we detect this mutation that we do not know all the reason why there is this mutation, all the cause of this mutation. But when we detect it, then we have to act very quickly and try to get the best action that we can take given the condition that we have. So I don't, let's say, exclude that there may be a relation. Most likely there is.
Okay. Thank you so much again, Professor Crosetto. Just to the question that many people are asking me, asking by the chat that the TV meetup is providing us to this conversation. Please, can you remind us your contact? So all the people who want to contact you for new questions, for everything, for knowing more about your research, your data. Please remind us your contacts and how people can contact you. Thank you.
Yes, you can go to the website crosettofoundation.org and you find the address, email, and everything. Or you can also ask a specific request as the question that we just heard before, to request at united2endcancer.org. Just one word. So request and then at ampersand united2endcancer.org.
Thank you so much, and from us and from all the people who are following you during this conference. Now, actually, a question from the TV.
Okay.
And we'd like to know more about you. Especially, we'd like to know which are the center, the research center who are collaborating with you during this year, the university, and all the other association who is already collaborating with you. So in order to thank also them for your teamwork.
Well, you can find those information detail. I just give an overview now. If you go to the information of the team of the u2ec.org, and at the end there is the team, there is the picture, and there are 3 links. One is united2endcancer.org/doc/300.pdf. And the other one is 168, and the other one is crosettofoundation.org/uploads167.pdf. Now I just give you a brief summary. I was at the CERN in Geneva for 17 years. I follow I took part of experiment there, and then in 1991 I came to the superconducting super collider. Over there I had the position of scientific associate, here as an engineer, and I was always addressing the most challenging problem when data are arriving at 600 million events per second, trying to sort it out and find the most interesting one. So I gave a seminar to university research center, the best in the world, all over the world. For instance, in France, Saclay, Marseille, in Germany, DAISY, that is the largest laboratory, several in Geneva, United States, in Nevis Laboratory, Columbia University, Michigan State University, participated to the most important conference in the world. Right now, I submitted 3 articles to the largest conference, Nuclear Science Symposium and Medical Imaging, that will take place in Seoul in Korea, the November 2nd, October 27, November 2nd. And obviously in Italy, I had more presentation, more collaboration. The most important one is with the University of Pavia, with Professor Dr. Vigna. And there I was invited in 2008 by Professor Zichichi at the World Laboratory Center for Ettore Majorana in Erice, Sicily, to the seminar of the planetary emergency, where he invited people, Nobel Prize and people from United Nations, so that I had the occasion to meet senior officer from United Nations that I visit afterwards in New York. Then I gave the seminar there. From there, I went to give it to the hospital Regina Elena in Rome, that is one of the most prestigious hospitals at the radiology department. And then I went to CERN and I gave a seminar at CERN, and it was broadcast via EVO, that is a system used in high energy physics. Then I gave the seminar to several main hospitals in Italy, Istituto Tumori, like equivalent to the National Cancer Institute, the other hospital in Reggio Emilia, Aviano, in the United States at the Southwest Medical Center in Dallas. So I continue to compare and to discuss and have collaboration with all the people that are willing to have the collaboration for free, because as I explained before, I don't have the funding, but you will see more details of my scientific articles, collaboration, and altogether I gave maybe more than 100 seminars. And so you will see the one who are listed in the collaboration. Okay.
Thank you so much, Professor Crosetto. Now the many questions are ended, so this conference is going to end, and so from me, from Silvia Tamburiello, from New York, from TV Meetup, I'm going to thank all the people who has attended this conference, starting from all the people who asked all the questions for you from the web and who came from all around the world. And also I'm thankful for Diana Damari and Jenny Colburn from Dallas, who is interviewing and also asking questions and following you. And so I am going to thank Alberto Colavita from Trieste, Italy, who is following us from Trieste. And I'm thanking Mauro Torta from Paris, from France, who is organizing all this for TV Meetup, organizing this conference. And of course, I am thanking you, Professor Crosetto from Dallas, for giving us all these wonderful news, all this information, and a starting point to go on with knowing more and better this problem about all the world. So thank you from TV Meetup.
Well, it's me that I thank you, first of all, Silvia, and then Mauro, and everybody who participated and who will be interested to follow up on also the Facebook page. if you will write a contact to TV Meetup, then we can keep you informed of on the progress of this project, on this cause more than a project, because as you may have understood at this point, it's not just a project, but my goal is to reduce cancer death and cost, and I am just coming up with one project, but altogether we should really address this and eliminate this calamity. Thank you again.